So you guys are going to be playing into a poke comp with your, mostly poke comp, but poke comp with a ball. So what do you think you're going to be looking to do? Like, if you guys look at this, and we'll talk it through before we even see it, what as we look at this, what do we think we're trying to accomplish with our, how are we going to take this first corner, for example?
Well, I think going for high ground would probably be a good idea after we get the card across that corner. And I mean, actually, sorry, the enemy team is like playing Orisa Diva. So the Diva is going to be on the high ground. So I guess fleshing out the Diva, which is probably going to be supporting their DPS on high ground, is a very good idea. Um, and Ball should probably be looking for plays to like isolate, like move someone and isolate them from their team.
Yeah, Ball's not really looking
From
to
the
win against anyone. He's not looking to take any duels. I mean, he's happy to take a duel if, like, there's a Widow that goes alone or something, but he's really looking to just create opportunities for your DPS to do work, right?
Mhm.
So he
Yeah,
could knock some people down. Like, he could try to knock some people down with a hit from behind, a hit from the right, something like that. Those things are true. But right now, I'd probably just look at this and say, who's going to push cart right now?
um,
I think it was Zen and Brig, like before.
Hmm. I don't think
Maybe.
your Zen and Brig are going to be able to push cart with these guys standing here. I don't think that's going to work terribly well. They might be able to hide behind the
yeah.
cart some, but I don't think those two have the sustain to do it.
So, so you would say like going right side, fully right, flanking, and then just having the ball push the cart would be like a thing to do, or
Certainly an
like
option.
our core.
I've got a couple things. First off, as soon as we see their comp, are we going to stay on our Brig?
Well, hmm, actually, yeah, Brig is not a good idea here.
Yeah, if they had a tracer, sure, absolutely play the Brig. But they don't have a
Uh-huh.
tracer, they don't have a wrecking ball. This is your Brig is just handicapping you right now.
Yeah. So wait, would Mercy or Baptiste be better here? Because Mercy could enable the sniper battles, and probably Res is not too bad, but we're also attacking, so we don't really need Res as much as we
Sure.
would if we were defending.
So your general answer, unfortunately, is BAP. If snipers were quite a bit stronger than they are, if Widow was quite a bit stronger than she is, you'd probably go into Mercy. But right now, most of the time, BAP is going to do more for you than Mercy. BAP does enough to harden your Zen, and BAP just puts out so much poke pressure himself. He helps shred those Orisa shields faster. He helps force that fortify. He can pretty quickly deal with someone who's out of position to force them back, get some eliminations. He has that nice window. BAP, unfortunately, is really better than Mercy in most of these situations. That
Uh-huh.
may change if you go, hey, we're going to run an Echo, we're going to run a Pharah. It's really going to be a little bit of a tough sell with the Widow. If Widow was in a better place, she might be worth it, but you generally go with the BAP here. And you'd be willing to swap off of that BAP, or you'd be willing to swap off the Zen is actually more likely what would happen. You'd keep the BAP and you'd swap off the Zen in a lot of these situations if they added a tracer or added a wrecking ball or both.
Would
Make
you mind?
sense?
Sorry.
Sure.
Would you mind adding
I would be
someone is in the voice chat
happy
right now?
to. Happy to.
Thank you.
Okay. So there we are. So that's the first thing. The first thing we're going to realize is, hey, we probably want to adjust our comp because we're on attack and we just get to know what they're on. We can see it. We can see there's no flanker aspect. Great. So then it becomes who's going to push card. And I'd say you guys are probably going to use your wrecking ball for this initially as you're sort of setting up. I don't mind if you instead go, my wrecking ball is going to bother them while we rotate this with our Sigma group, maybe our Sigma plus one or both of our supports. But I'm then going to need a bunker going somewhere else. So where else is my bunker going? If I have one group going cart, where else could I set up a bunker to threaten this place that is on my screen right now? These guys.
Oh,
You could hit it left and then right. I don't know if it would get
Do you mean left over
I
here?
think maybe switching the map and like becoming defenders,
you. Or maybe.
I
Okay.
don't know.
But I mean, you could try. It would take a lot of time to
It
get.
would be a
around-
long rotation, yeah.
to get around on the right side. So I'm thinking about it in terms of right and left. I'm thinking about it from the attacker side.
Oh, sure. So you want to go over here.
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe like under there you could get some poke
Sure.
pressure on the shield.
Yeah, you could put
and then maybe
someone.
push stair.
You could put someone over here. That doesn't terribly bother me. It really gets into a little bit of a who standpoint are you going to put here, though? Like, you could put, like,
Like
Sigma plus
Sigma.
Soldier here, maybe, and then maybe Zen plus Brig on the cart, and then maybe Widow's playing from Spawn. Is that what you're thinking?
Like maybe you could get somebody under there, but you could also help with like take a Sigma and a soldier, run them up the stairs on the left, and maybe contest like over high ground with the field and resources.
Oh, try to have them fight from here?
Maybe.
I think that's going to be a little tough because you can't force cover control well enough. You really have no cover against these guys. Like, you can sort of run like this, but they have the option to open this up wider. They have the option to sustain sort of with their own Sigma, with their own Orisa, with their own Diva DM. I think it would be tough to live here. I think you'd have to sort of accept this and sort of be ready to go. We'll put pressure into you. We'll clean you up if you get knocked down, if you drop, and we're going to have our ball probably do a quick roll through here to try to knock you down, open something up for that while we've got like a Widow back here. Maybe our support's inching our cart forward. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah, so the entire play is just going to be like setting up positions to punish like a play from the ball, or also like just breaking shields because we do have like the Widow who's probably very strong. Like they'll have to respect the Widow
Sure.
if she's playing from our spawn. They only have one shield.
Sure. Yeah, no. And that's the thing. And most of the time, what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to get multiple angles to threaten. We struggle a little bit here to get multiple angles to threaten just because, hey, like, the only way we could really get, like, a true second angle would be, like, if we walked Widow over here and then grappled up, but she's just going to get run over if we do that. So, like, that doesn't make sense. So we look at this and go, we'll do a mini off angle thing, sort of 3 angles, but they're all mini. And then our ball will try to, as we're pulling a ton of attention forward, our ball will hit a roll through, which will either soften some people up, maybe power drive to lock them in if no one's here. But mostly what we'd want is we'd like the ability to knock someone down. If we can knock someone down forward, great. If we can knock someone down back here, not as good, but it then does still weaken them and lets us cycle them better and probably break the shield. And then they either perhaps let us move the cart for free, or because they back off, or they stay out and we get a pick. Make sense?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Sorry, are we essentially just handicapping ourselves with this comp, or is there like a better because dive?
What's the philosophy behind like when we see a certain comp, say we saw a spam comp versus like a brawl comp versus a I guess other type of comp.
Sure.
What are we looking at in terms of our comp philosophy?
Sure.
Just to get like the whole team on
So
the same page.
at a super high level, the philosophy would be, hey, if everything was balanced perfectly, brawl comps in theory would beat up on dive comps would beat up on poke comps, and poke comps would beat up on brawl comps. That has to do with the idea of dive comps sort of, not exactly, but sort of shorten the poke phase, and then are stronger than pokers in the brawl phase. And that makes sense. Okay, dive beats poke. Then you get this thing where, hey, poke gets lots of time to do work against brawl heroes because they can't brawl. It can't shorten that poke phase, does not have as strong of poke, gets too weak by the brawl phase, so the poke team just wins. And then the poke team beats the brawl phase, beats the brawl team because, hey, the brawl team beats the dive team because the dive team in theory, is like, oh, well, we can start the fight in brawl faster, and the brawl team goes, we wanted to brawl too, we just couldn't start it, hey, thanks for coming to us. It's actually more complicated than that in practice, based on balancing, based on everyone hybridizing their comps, based on, objective pressure, that sort of thing. But that's sort of the basic theory of the triangle. What you're really more worried about is what you can do with it with the comps that you can actually play. So if this is one comp that you can actually play, that's perfectly fine with me. You have a poke comp that leans a little bit into dive, but is really a poke comp with this ball aspect instead of an Orisa, which I'm assuming we're playing because we're more comfortable on the Orisa than the ball. Is that correct?
Well, actually, I would love playing Orisa.
Oh, okay.
But we are kind of trying to transition to like a dive, like the balls end comp.
Sure.
But essentially, like we always go back to playing snipers.
Do we?
Because our hero pool is.
I've become a lot more confident on my Sigma as well
Okay.
for recent months.
Do we?
So I like bringing out the Sigma a lot,
Okay,
and we haven't particularly talked about or practiced our double shield with Orisa yet.
got it.
So I end up just running the Sigma because like I'm really confident with it.
Okay.
But I feel like that's a comp that we know how to do with that.
Sure. So I would look at this and I would say we can build out your double shield to be stronger because double shield is absolutely a strong comp. Or we could look at this and go, hey, we'd like to play more dive, but dive isn't real. Like you can play a poke dive hybrid, that's absolutely fine, but you're not really a poke dive hybrid with just Wrecking Ball. You need a tracer. Like you need a tracer. You might be able to get away with Sombra plus Echo, but like you probably just need a tracer. You follow what I'm saying? So is one of the DPS stepping up and learning Tracer? Because if not, this conversation's sort of dead.
Yeah, I play Tracer, but like I feel like I struggle with like staging like the dives. Like I end up like behind the ball by a decent margin when I try to dive.
Okay. Okay. So that is something that we could definitely work on. I'm kind of going to need, I can talk it through a little bit in terms of how that works, where, hey, we want to set up in such a way where ideally what's going to happen is our backline is going to threaten the other team for just a moment with like a poke for a couple seconds. And in that moment, our ball and our tracer are now going to be able to push in, take some lanes around the other team. And they might go together, they might go separate. It depends a little bit what the last aspect of your team is. If you had a Sombra, they might go together. If you didn't, you might have them go separate. If the enemy team had a Sombra, they might go together again. And what you're going to do is you're setting up, say, to the left and right of the enemy team, and then you're pulling your backline cover to stabilize, and then you're potentially ready to dive from there. Depends a little bit what you're playing into, but like your tracer feeling like they're falling behind is probably a situation where either your ball is going in without first setting up behind the other team, or your tracer isn't getting help to get in, so it feels like they have to dive from their team, and we're not giving them a chance to stabilize once they've gone behind the other team. Those would be the most likely things. I can't say more without seeing a little bit of tape, if you know what I'm saying.
I feel like I
think
might have
the
swapped Tracer this game too.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay. Then I'm going to look at this. I'm going to say, ideally, you guys, yes, you are hamstringing yourself a bit. If you're more comfortable on the Orisa, you guys should play this as a double shield comp, or you should move this to a ball comp, or to a, ball zen comp with a tracer. This is kind of a bad compromise. We can talk through how to play this compromise, but it's not as strong as the comp your opponents are on, for example. And if you saw this comp out of the enemy team, what you do want to be thinking about in terms of a counter triangle of sorts is they're being a little bit greedy and that they don't have a brig. So what does that mean?
Yeah, I was thinking they don't have any like hard CC.
Right, and it means we would like to get our own ball tracer online. Like we are happy to bring because our ball tracer can go hit plays effectively by themselves. Like yes, we'd like our team to contribute, but those two can take out a Zen, can take out a BAP if that brig isn't in play somewhat reliably. Okay.
Hondo too.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna let this roll a bit. Your Wrecking Ball's taking some angles. Your Zen and Brig are staying back at cart while your Soldier and Sigma are doing this. Okay, I probably don't want to be Zen right now because now I don't have the cover of the cart. I've put myself just in the middle of the enemy team's fire. Maybe I feel like, I'm super baiting attention to me for some reason, but like, this is not a place that makes me terribly happy right now. Likewise, if I'm Brig, there was sort of some degree of like, I was protecting my Zen sort of back here, but was our Zen really in any danger back here? No, and there's no diver, and even if there was, our Zen was in zero danger back here. So I'm actually starting to think, hey, I'd kind of rather reinforce Sigma, because if anyone is going to get pushed and brawled upon in this comp, it's probably your Sigma, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go back up my Sigma. And it's weird, but like I said, you don't want your Sigma to end up alone. Your Sigma's not alone right now. He has a soldier, but you don't want your Sigma to end up alone, and that's just a better place for your Brig to be right now. Okay, no big deal. Where's my balls timing? Over here. Okay. Orisa is clearly fortified. That Orisa
knows?
is clearly fortified, and we have not yet spent grapple.
Just hold the bump left, and
I thought the Zen might do some like missteps, but you know,
Okay, it's fine.
I'm just coping, so
It's fine.
that's fair.
So you'd sit back here, and you'd
There
literally
was
just.
also a person in front of that Rissa. To my defense.
That's
There
true.
is,
That's
yeah,
true. There's
I
a soldier.
think
That's a
it's bigger.
soldier. Okay. So we look at this one. Not the end of the world. You can try to knock someone forward. I probably wouldn't do it while the Fortify was there. They don't see you yet. You didn't need to do this. If you were going to do this, you probably knock these guys because just knocking people down is fine. Like getting them down, wherever, getting them down here perhaps means picks, but getting them down over here still means they can't really hold this high ground anymore. But that's fine.
Gotcha.
Okay. I hope my ball's gonna get Harmony Orb. Okay. So, this is cool and all. We've created a situation where who can help our ball fight the soldier up there right now?
Sending in some orbs from Sigma, just kind of getting some chip damage, but it's mostly just stripping off the healing from the heal.
Yeah, which is fine. That's some help. But ultimately, we can't allow this soldier to stay here. We need to take out this soldier. We don't have a diva that we can send up. Soldier certainly can't get up there. So our options are, hey, if we can bounce orbs, that's great. But other than that, you know, let's get a repair pack on ball, or let's get Harmony Orb on ball, and let's help him beat this soldier. Because, you know, if with tools, with resources being donated, he should be able to win this 1v1. Okay. This is happening. We're going to have to retake it. Okay. So now we need to think about this, and this I don't like, because I see your whole team is just one straight line like this. You see this?
Yep.
So you're going to lose.
It's just like an arrow. It's so straight.
Right? Right? So we don't
Just
like
us.
this. This is like seconds before
Take the handle,
disaster.
guys.
So what could we do right now to threaten this team? Like if think about our individual players, who could be starting to go where?
We should be controlling the left, like small doorway there.
Yeah. If you don't control this left doorway, if these guys were better, they might leave their Orisa here, put their Sigma here, or put their Diva here. I don't care. More likely, they're probably going to put their Diva here, and maybe they put their Hanzo here. And they're just going to pelt you, right? Like, they're just going to pelt you in the side anytime you try to push forward, and you're going to have a bad time. So yeah, you could go, hey, we're going to control this, and that could make sense. It's a little tough because ideally you might send Sigma over here and Orisa over here, or you might send Orisa here and Diva up here to challenge, but you don't really have those tools. Maybe you'd hold this with Cassidy. You've chosen not to do that, so maybe Soldier can do this. Whatever the case may be, I'm not really worried. The point that I'm getting to is this doesn't work. We could get someone up here. We could get someone up here. We could get someone out here could be a thing that we could do. We could even threaten someone from over here. Like, Widow can have some fun from here and still be incredibly safe if the other team had divers, which they don't, right?
Yeah.
So basically, everything is better than what you did. But okay, that's okay. So getting into this more seriously, I don't need to be like, these are your fixed positions. What I instead need is, I need people to respect that your Sigma needs at least one friend with him, and you need at least 2 groups, or if you count the ball as a zone group, 3 groups, basically at all times. And if you aren't in 3 groups, because your ball is going to be a zone group, it better be because you had 3 different angles, and you collapsed on the enemy team, so you now just sort of look like one group, but you collapsed from different directions. Make sense? So
Yeah.
I just look at this and I'd instantly be thinking about, can I go far left with ball? Can I go left rim with ball? Can I go high ground with ball? Can I go bottom left with soldier or far left with soldier? Like, those are all things that I'm looking at, and I'm probably just going to sit, you know, with my Brig on my Sigma here because, again, I probably shouldn't be running Brig, but that's life. Does that make sense?
So if we were running Baptiste, would he be taking high ground, or would he be playing with the Sig, or what's the angle for Baptiste?
Sure, so your Baptiste would probably hop up and help your ball push down Diva and take this angle back, but your Baptiste probably wouldn't get aggressive. Your Baptiste would probably be playing like from here helping until we were able to get our Sigma a little bit more out here. Does that make sense? Like if you had a situation where you had Bap Zen, it might be, hey, my Bap is healing my Sigma here, or excuse me, my Bap is healing my Orisa here, and maybe my Zen Sigma are over here, and hey, that's great. Or maybe my Brig Sigma are over here, as my Bap and Orisa are over here. But with these two, it's not going to super bother me if they end up, because you guys are running one poke tank and one dive tank, if both of your supports end up with your poke tank. Like that's not going to be the end of the world to me, but it's not amazing either, because I do need a second group somewhere, and maybe that second group is just Widowmaker, but that doesn't feel amazing. I might want, as weird as it is, I might want Sigma, Soldier, Brig in one place, and then Zen, Widow in another, or Zen, Super Deep, or something along those lines. You've made your comp a little bit awkward, I'm not going to lie. Okay. But we do need some angles. I'm not super worried. Widow, this isn't really a different angle, but it's something. Ball, you're fired. You're not actually fired, but we look at this, and which direction is the enemy poke team looking?
Exactly at me.
Right, and we just...
Directly at me.
Right, and we just dove in from the direction of our team, and it's like, yes, they're going to chip your armor, they're going to chip you down so fast, you can take all the damage on the way in. Whereas it's very fast for you to switch lanes and come in from over here, and this makes them super uncomfortable. They've got to think about turning all sorts of, hey, we don't really like this stuff, and any sort of pre-spam fire that was going at your team doesn't hit you. Anything that they turn and aim at you, if it misses you, it doesn't hit your team, right?
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, unfortunate. Okay, and, I hope we're ready to do that, but you just get blown up, because that's how that's, like, perfect, literally, like, picture perfect, exactly why you don't do that. But
I didn't use my adaptive shield, because I just accepted my fate.
And now we're just trying to live.
Sure, you can have fun trying to live, but they're going to outpoke you. You are down one person. You're effectively down two people, because your Brig doesn't do anything.
Here, we should just back up and get, like, high ground or left lane, right?
Oh, yeah. No, we should absolutely back up. There's no way we're fighting these guys. You're effectively down two. You might be like, oh, no, we're poke heroes. We could maybe get a pick off, but they're more likely than you to get a pick off. They're forcing resources better than you. They're playing wrong, too. They're too stacked, but, like, you're in a situation where they're much more likely than you to take someone else down than you are to take one of theirs down. So yeah, close the angles on them, just go get cover, and set up in such a way where if they tried to push into you, they'd be walking into, like if you tuck some people in here, some people here, just be aware of halts, and if they tried to walk in to get eliminations, okay, they're gonna die because they're gonna get shot in the back by Zen or whatever. But like, that's what you're looking to do right now, because no, you can't stay and keep poking at these guys.
Wait, so from their perspective, can we swing the camera over to there?
Of course.
Like so they're BAP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could he be taking the angle of like the right background, rear on the right? Like the window area?
Yeah, so he could play up here. He's probably going to adjust a little bit to how much damage his Orisa is taking, because he's going to do a worse job of sustaining his Orisa if he's playing from up here, where he's going to be a little more happy over here. And it's pretty easy for D.Va and Hanzo to play up here together, and that's not really going to bother D.Va. Like, D.Va would be perfectly fine to play up here with BAP. D.Va would very much like someone to be up here to help them threaten, to help shoot you guys from above, to make sure that they don't get threatened from up here. She'd like someone to be her friend, but she doesn't really care if it's BAP or if it's Hanzo, and both of those heroes can do it pretty easily, but BAP gives a little bit more. BAP can see and heal either of them from here pretty well, whereas BAP is really just going to kind of forget about his Orisa if he plays up here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You guys can absolutely just poke out that diva a little bit. Hans is doing what he should. Okay. So, soldier, I respect the effort. But I don't really approve because your team isn't really ready to do anything with this yet. Like, we can peek and try to get a quick pick off. We can do that sort of thing sometimes. If it's a surprise angle, they're not aware of us. I'm not really sure I consider this that. I'd like a bigger angle, that sort of thing. I also like it because we have this ball. If this ball does a lot of sort of the opening of the fights, a lot of sort of the he'll be the first person to yoink attention to him because he's got that tank HP, that adaptive shield, that fast movement. Whereas, you know, if we do this and we pull eyeballs to us, we instantly get deleted. And, you know, that's just not amazing. We're going to have to open sightlines on them, but I'd like to open sightlines on them after someone else has pulled stuff, or I'd like to open a sharp enough sightline on them that it's sort of like a, you don't even, pretend this sounds this here, you don't even see me, let me open with a helix and a few headshots and the target's dead and it doesn't even matter type thing. So that's how I'd like to think about this. We're really opening this angle before our team is threatening, and that's not amazing. And goodbye. Oh, Sigma's helping you out. Okay, well, that was fun. So, Wrecking Ball, how did you path in here? Like that. Okay, so I totally
I
get...
like, engaged because I saw our soldier getting pushed.
Yep.
But that was probably not crazy.
Yeah, so it's not amazing because, again, you're engaging these guys. You're fighting in a place where their whole team sees you, right?
Yes.
Whereas if you did more of a, hey, I'm going to hit a quick roll through like this, now you maybe knock a few of these guys around, you finish behind them, which is advantageous, and they all turn to look at you, or some of them turn to look at you. You're still helping your soldier survive here, but you're now pulling 3 people's attention to you instead of going here where 6 people have the option to pay attention to you, and you have no control over whether you live or die, right? Okay. Like, if these guys weren't contributing to the fight, sure, you wouldn't want to go fight them. You'd want to go peel. But these guys are contributing to the fight, so distracting them, pressuring them does something. And we'd like to, you know, make that something happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also use my hook to get up there, which is
Yep.
probably... I use 2 abilities.
You did.
No escape.
Okay. So, we'll take down their diva. That leaves us quite happy. We've now got our Tracer. I like it. We've got some Tracer. Now our comp is real. Now we're playing like a real
It's
comp. I
imaginary
love it.
before.
What's that?
It was imaginary before.
It was kind of imaginary before. Okay, so I've got a little bit of an issue here. So Tracer just went in... 2 things just happened here. What is Tracer doing right now? Or here, I'll rewind and show you guys, because that's going to be a little more obvious. Let's watch Tracer, the adventures of Tracer.
Oh no.
So, there's Tracer. Yeah, there's Tracer. Oh. Uh-huh. What is Tracer trying to do right now? Or for those last few seconds?
Setting up an angle on their Zen, I hope.
Setting up an angle in general, I would say. Tracer's trying to get to the outside of the fight, trying to get to a place where they can dive from that isn't just diving from the team. Makes sense to me. That's a perfectly good thing for Tracer to do. What's Wrecking Ball doing right now?
Well, I'm going in.
Engaging.
Oh, I'm
Huh.
balls to the wall.
Missing the earth.
Huh. So, I don't really want my Tracer and Wrecking Ball on super different pages like that. Now, you know what? Sometimes your Wrecking Ball is going to do that, and Tracer, you're just going to go, have fun, Wrecking Ball, thanks for helping me set up. The same way a Winston might soft dive, and a Tracer might go, yeah, I'm not set up yet, so I'm just going to use this soft dive to take positioning. Totally fine. But if that's the case, our Wrecking Ball should then leave this fight, and then we should sort of come in together for a harder hit in just a few seconds. That's sort of what we'd expect, and that's not happening. Okay, Wrecking Ball. Okay, so
I'm hiding.
good pile drive. Not really, but we'll pretend. Now, where are you going? Where are you going?
I'm running behind the payload because I'm scared.
Uh-huh. So behind the payload, the same place your soldier is?
Yes.
Does that mean that the next time you go in against the enemy team, you're going to be coming from the direction of the majority of your team and you're going to take extra spam damage and just get blown up again?
Correct.
Funny how that works.
Yeah,
Now,
it's
what if
actually very crazy when I think about it.
what if after that pile drive,
Is that
we
what
tethered,
you-
we pulled ourselves over here, we circled back here, we got the mega, and then our next tether was a, hey, tether in, pile drive, Tracer blinks in from here, and our team just presses W. What if that was what the next push looked like?
I think if that was the next push, I wouldn't, you know,
Yeah.
we wouldn't need a
Pretty
button.
happy.
You
This would
think-
be an ego mod then.
This would be
Yeah.
a better, you guys would be a better team if that was the next push.
I think that would be true, yes.
Okay.
I
Nope.
will say, though, I don't have mine one trick. In my defense.
You play ball at least 80% of the time.
Yes, but that's because I'm practicing ball.
Okay, that's fine. So one of the things I'd like you to work on, Max, we'll just go with Max. One of the things I'd like you to work on here is I want you to work on trying to enter the fight from a different angle than your team, and also trying to leave the fight in a different angle than your team. Especially against these teams that don't have tracers, don't have sombras. They're not going to hunt you down. You're not counting on your team to heal you. You are counting on health packs to heal you. And you're just accepting that the opponents get, ult charge from having chipped you down, that you didn't refund to your supports. Sound good? Okay. And
My thing is, I usually try to do the ranked ball thing where you just have maximum uptime, and I do realize it sometimes, but then
I remember in a past squad that when I was subbing for a red team that I did that. I was just always going in
Yeah.
whatever I could.
it's kind of like a stressful. You feel stressed because you're not coming to the fight, but then getting a better angle is probably worth the time trade off.
Right. I mean, this is organized play. You guys are playing together, and it's gonna make your hit that much harder. You're also gonna find that if your play isn't super organized and isn't, hey, you can, for example, you're gonna start finding that you can't even do this a full uptime ball against some of these better teams because, hey, you don't want this long poke phase where they're allowed to get value on you. But imagine if they had a Torb and a Diva and a Brig. Imagine how terrible of a time you would have with I'm just gonna go in all the time. You're gonna need those decisive clean dives from angles to beat some of the hardened versions of this comp that you run into. But okay. Tracer, please go retake angles. Tracer. Okay. Cool. Tracer's going to cart, fine with me. Tracer's not going to cart. Okay. What are we doing? Okay, so here's our Tracer. Took out Hanzo. Had to happen. I'm good with it. We have 3 blinks. We decide we're gonna go do some threatening from over here. I'm potentially fine with that. But is there any chance I'm pushing back in here? Is there any chance I'm pushing from this direction on this team?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So maybe we go, hey, this is too hot. I don't like it. You know what I'm going to do if this angle's too hot and I don't like it? I'm either going to
Swing
close.
out left farther.
Right. I'm either going to swing out left farther and go, hey, I'll find something over here. Maybe I'll find something cute up here, whatever. Or if those feel like they're going to take too long, I'm just going to go, oh, yeah, that was really hot. There was a lot of incoming fire. I don't like that. Okay, let's do it again. That sort of thing of okay, let me close the angle for just a second. And then my Zen is still shooting at them, and these guys have the attention span of less than Goldfish because they're getting shot at by my Zen, by my Sigma, whatever. So they're not going to hold over here. They're going to look at the Zen and the Sigma that are shooting them, and then, oh, hey, I get to shoot them at an angle again, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is another thing that you're going to look at where you might go, hey, I'd like to dive in hard and take these guys out. But even if you're just doing, I want to do some angular pressure, which is, you're either going in from an angle or you're diving from an angle. Even if you're just pressuring them from an angle, that does something. And if they do just turn and stare at you, that doesn't even bother you because it's anytime that they're turning and shooting at you, they're not taking down your Sigma shield. They're getting shot up by your Zen and Sigma. They're getting, these cool things are happening. We're pretty happy with that. We're perfectly happy to be like, yes, turn your bigger guns on me, Tracer, over here. I'm not really doing anything to you anyways. I'm great with that. Or, I'll just dive in and finish you type thing. But hey, not a big deal. Okay, we did that. Probably not with the Discord. Yeah, again, I don't need to keep going back and forth. I can literally keep using that left one. I might have to duck in and out, but I can keep using that left one. Now we're going to use this right one. We do want to go into this. That's almost certainly not who we go after, but okay. Cool. Sigma, why are you so happy to do this? Okay, so I'm going to take one look at this. Flux is powerful. We just hit some power. What am I staring at right now if I'm you guys?
Death.
Window.
Certain death.
So
Three.
much
Three.
Sigma grasp.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So
I
much
see
shoes.
window, I see visor, I see transcendence.
So
I
much.
see a whole lot of I don't want to fight this. So like I'm just going to wait it out. I'm literally just going to kite my way out, wait it out. I might throw up shift. Don't get me wrong. That's fine. But like, I don't need to shoot at this if I'm Soldier. I don't need to shoot at this if I'm Sigma. I don't need to shoot at this if I'm Tracer. I don't need to shoot at this if I'm Zen. I'm perfectly happy to just go, let me close the angle. Let me sprint away. Let me keep rotating as Tracer. And let me just set up for when some of this stuff ends. Because these guys just stacked a ton of ults when any one of these ults would have been enough for them to, maybe not totally outmuscle you, but be stronger than you for the next few seconds. And they just stacked 3 of them. I'm not doing this. I'm just not doing it. I'm leaving. So surely that's what I'm going to see. You guys just sort of leave. Tracer's got the right idea. Well, that's not leaving.
He's going in. For
Yeah.
seconds.
Now we could in theory be pushing into them because all of their stuff is over, but like that wasn't really what we wanted to do, right? We just wanted to kite ourselves more. Our Soldier was too aggressive here. Our Sigma sort of maybe started to fall back by this point, but I don't really think so. And then we saw the Soldier, and sure, we'll take the Soldier that gets stupid aggressive. But like, we wanted to kite that aggression, close the angles. Also, this fight is over, and we should probably just... Okay. Sure. Not a huge deal. This is just you guys. I mean, if you guys could reorganize mid-fight, this would be better, where we'd go, hey, are we pushing? Are we stabilizing? What are we doing? We're doing this. We'd like our ball to get a different angle desperately. We'd like our Tracer to not rejoin us on this angle. There's absolutely no reason for our Tracer to have rejoined us. Our Tracer can have literally done work over here, leave, and then come right back in. I don't really want my Tracer to rejoin and come on the Sangam angle. I get ball came in, hit your pile drive, but we're still looking to find our way over to a different angle to do some work here. Okay. Sure. I still don't really think we're gonna win this. But maybe eventually.
Yeah.
So this is sort of us throwing good after bad. Where I get it, it always feels like it's just, within reach, but you're down like one person. You're closer to their spawn than yours. It's not really here to be had. Like, we do need that clean reset, or at the very least to, really make sure we're dedicated about taking those angles, even in the mid-fight, developing our angles if we're going to be successful. Okay. Tracer, I love it. Setting up.
60 seconds.
Hope you don't get Hanzo'd. Where's my wrecking ball? Oh, okay. This could be a good one, guys. We've got our Tracer set up. We've got our wrecking ball set up. I want to see what happens with our core. Okay. Okay. Sure. So, you guys tell me. MX, who's your target right now? Who are you calling?
I'm probably calling mines, knowing myself, and
Okay.
not really anything.
Okay. So mines are going to disrupt this team. They're going to help your team fight. They make your engage stronger. Definitely. I do like that. And your team is walking forward during this, and I like that. I'd like to also make sure we get a pile drive off here. I'd have ideally like to have deployed mines, pile drive,
Yeah.
you know, some of the shenanigans like
That's
that.
something I have. It's a frequent mistake of mine that
Okay.
I should really not be doing.
Okay. Here's the other thing that's going to happen. I don't know why our brig is still so far away as we're mining, as we got the pick on their Hanzo. Like, we should already be closer to these guys with our backline than we are. We should be a little less afraid to walk. We took out their Hanzo. We know our ball is going in hard right now. They're going to turn some people to get on him. We have to walk in and take some space right now. I don't like this 4-stack. I would like my soldier to take a little bit different of an angle than my team. So if my soldier was down, for example... If I'm walking in with my team from this direction, and I'm walking in with my soldier from this direction, fine. Tracer was up there, ball was back there, great. That could be fine. Soldier's generally going to keep a shallower angle than Tracer or ball, and that's totally okay with us. We're good with that. We still want him to have a little bit different of an angle, and he's pretty safe on his own. If he ends up with a Sigma, that's fine, whatever. But I sort of want, again, 3 groups. I want like a ball group. I want like a... I don't want my backline to ever be 4 people. I'll just put it like that. If I have 4 people that could all be backliners, I want to have at least 2 groups of them. That can be 1 and 3, or that can be 2 and 2, but I don't want it to be 4 people stacked on together, which is sort of what we have here. I also need to be walking people in harder than I have, because even though we've messed this up, we don't have the pile drive. Let's put it this way. Who's stronger in a brawl right now? Your team or their team?
With their mines, we're
Without the mines, even.
without the mines.
I mean, they don't really have like they just have spam. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Brig, and we have a Discord.
We have Brig.
yes.
Brig is pretty great. But yes, we also have Tracer and Wrecking Ball. We're better in a brawl than they are, and our Brig getting in there makes it makes our Brig contribute, but B, it makes our whole team tougher in the brawl, right?
Yeah.
So I want to be walking on these guys. And in order for my Brig to get in there, for my Brig to still protect my Zen, to still protect other people, my Brig probably wants to walk in there. This is going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, perhaps for our Sigma, perhaps for our Zen, to just sort of walk in like I'm recommending. But you do need to do it because your Brig can help you more if you walk in, and your Brig would like your help of your Sigma or your Diva to get in as well. And your Zen needs to go in because... if these guys like flip a Tracer into their comp, anything like that, your Zen would much prefer to actually be in range of your Brig's Inspire, be in range where your Brig can potentially help, which requires going in, and your Brig has to go in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. It's weird, I know, but this is super disjointed. And this fight is over. This fight is over before your Brig your Brig just now got close enough to where we're contributing to the fight. That doesn't really make sense. You guys aren't playing like a 4-5 explosive game where things just happen in an instant. So we probably messed up if our Brig just now got into the fight. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Okay. This is a bit of a tough one. Who should be pushing cart right now?
Well,
Should it be Soldier since like he's the only one that has like consistent range in this fight? Maybe Zen.
So at this
Ethan.
moment, it should actually probably be Zen. I don't mind that Squirtle, your Brig, is going back to do it, but in a few seconds, who should be pushing cart? Once you've finished getting the staggers.
but wouldn't it be better if I push cart as ball and then just have them take the high ground? Because high ground on like I don't know. Because I feel like if you let them have the stairs there, it might be harder to push the high ground.
You're close, but you're not quite right.
After we get
No, you're close, but you're not quite right. Ball pushing the cart rather than Zen would be an upgrade because if Zen is able to push the cart and be safe from the enemy team, that would be great, but that's just not a thing that we can count on often enough. So usually Zen doesn't actually get to push the enemy cart, or to get to push the cart, because it's more important that we put Zen in a position to set them up for the next fight where they're safe and get value. That's just too important. Zen is too important of a piece of your comp. So it can't be Zen. It could be Zen for a second or two here while you're getting staggers, but it can't be Zen while you're setting up for the next fight. So we talked about Wrecking Ball. It could be Wrecking Ball, but Wrecking Ball actually helps your team rotate and get those positions. Like, he can afford to trade with the opposing team a little bit, to knock them around, to pile drive. He sort of jostles things up a bit and helps create openings for you, right?
Yeah.
And we've covered how we don't really want Ball entering the fight from the direction of our team. Okay, so probably not Wrecking Ball. So it actually ends up being Tracer. I know that's weird, but it actually ends up being Tracer that is pushing cart. It'll cause Tracer to be late to some fights. It'll cause Tracer to not have the most amazing angles. But Tracer is a pretty easy time managing cart. Once the fight starts, you absolutely do leave cart and join the fight. But it does end up being Tracer because it's more important to set your Zen up in these fights than to do that. Good. You please don't tell me this is happening. Please no. Please no. Please no. Oh, okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. How important is this high ground up here?
Very extremely.
Like 4 minutes off the clock levels of important. I mean,
Yes, if they take high ground, they full hold us.
Right.
It's like, especially with that comp.
Right. So we can't let them have this. I like basically don't care about the cart. The cart could move like almost not. I mean, yes, I'd like the cart to move because then we get past this whole problem. But like, it is incredibly important that we have this high ground. So I'm looking at this and it is paining me that I'm seeing you two on the cart here when, hey, I know the fight has to happen around either this doorway or, you know, somewhere in here. So I'd really like my brig here for this fight. And I probably want my soldier here to be able to poke them, whatever. So again, Tracer is what we wanted. I definitely didn't want to 3-stack the cart here. I just don't care that much about the cart space, because even if the cart gets all the way to here and then we lose a fight, versus if it gets to here and then we lose a fight, either one puts us in a situation where this high ground is just going to dominate us again, right?
Mhm.
So let's not triple stack cart. Let's instead set up for the fight. Ooh, it hurts. Okay. Okay. Well, that was fun while it lasted. So we weren't really set up to hold this. That's not amazing. We wanted to be set up to hold this. There's basically no reason, if we weren't just really more on our toes after this last one fight. Here, I'll just rewind here. Hanzo. They have a Hanzo left. Is there any reason, if we're not just messing around figuring out what we're doing, why we can't have already had, say, Sigma plus Zen here, or Soldier plus Sigma here, or something, to poke at these guys and make walking across... Oh, look at all this space that doesn't have any cover between here and here.
Yeah.
I'll be there soon.
Soon is going to be too late, as we can see. Okay. No big deal.
I think I actually do take that.
Okay.
You were the catwalks. Yeah,
What was-
you were holding catwalk.
Ah.
Sigma.
I'm trying to shoot the soldier here.
Yeah, I don't
I don't know what I'm doing.
It's
I'll
not.
be there. Just I'm late.
And you could maybe afford to be here as Sigma if you had an Orisa, but that's not the comp you're playing anymore. Or really ever on this map, but hey. And truth be told, you'd have still started up here with the Sigma, you'd have just fallen back into the other position. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. So... I know, I'm so sarcastic, but here's our Flux, and like, I love it, it's gonna catch lots of people, but how many people can follow up on our Flux?
Well, only 2 if I was like set up for a slam there.
Yeah.
And
Me
Tracer's
and
there.
maybe Fraser.
Yeah. And the truth is, I'm not convinced either of you can do that. Yeah, nope, no tether there, but we'll get it in time. And Tracer is...
Our soldier and like, I'm not sure why we still have like 3 people on cart.
Yep, I'm not sure why we ever had 3 people on cart. That's, yeah, you guys got it. We should definitely not be overemphasizing this cart like we are. That's part of the problem. We should have.
If it wants to like, get distance between the fights, then that makes like at least that makes a tiny bit of sense. But like the fight already started, and we're just sitting on her.
Yeah, you got it. Okay.
He lied to me. He said big flux, by the way. Just to remind you.
I mean,
It was.
it
there
was
at
a
least
reasonably
4
big
people at the
flux. It's
beginning.
just we had no angles to lock them in the flux, so they kite.
I'm sorry, I'm just
At one point in time, it was big.
Okay, you need to just go, MX. Great.
I'm out of there.
Okay, and we're okay. We're okay. We can fight our way back into this. Yeah, we just got that. Cool. So now we're going to set up and we're going to hit a nice nether dive here. We're going to hit a nice nether dive. In goes your ball through your team, because that's the only way that we know how to go in, apparently. And your Tracer's going to also go in through your team. And this is just going to suck. Better. Okay. I get it. It sucks. Nice pulse bomb. That helps a ton. That puts you guys back in this. But as we were looking at this fight, as we were looking at the phases that were sort of happening in this fight, yes, we'd have loved our Tracer to find a different way into this fight. We'd have loved our Tracer to maybe find an excuse to blink over here, as opposed to blinking in here. If we blink over here, suddenly our Tracer gets to threaten from over here, and our Tracer can be sustained pretty well from our backline, right? Like, our backline was back there. We can get our Tracer over here. We can do this. They can't really chase our Tracer around this corner. Hey, we're good with this. This is pretty good. And then we wanted our ball, rather than to go in this way, we needed our ball. Even if we do, like, you know, silly shenanigans to get ourselves up here like that, or silly shenanigans to get ourselves up there with a tether, we've got to in some way be able to threaten them from up here, right? Either we're threatening them with a roll through, which will take a harder setup and it's just going to take some practice, or you get up here and you just sort of gunner mode them and shoot a little bit and then roll back here, but you pull so much attention away of their stronger poke comp from the poke aspects of your team that now maybe your poke aspects have a chance of winning. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm poking a bit from on the Sigma down there, just like I'm poking the Diva.
Right.
Like I was doing in like the beginning of the fight, where I was trying to poke out the supercharge. But like what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Just
So
kind of where I am down there.
unless we were going to take time for you to rotate high ground and we were going to have you guys try to like walk in, hey, our back line is going to walk in from here as our ball swings in from up here and our Tracer, who's found their way past here, blinks in from there. Unless we were going to do that, yeah, you were perfectly fine to go from low ground, but you needed other aspects of your team to threaten high ground, like I talked about there. And yes, all you can effectively do is throw orbs up at them and go, hey, I'm threatening you from here. This is what I'm doing. I'm putting poke pressure. And if you guys do distribute your resources in directions that aren't me, I'll get eliminations. And if you distribute them in directions that are me, hopefully my Tracer or ball can get eliminations. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. They just like spending ult all at once. Okay. We kite, and now we're gonna push back in because this is about to be over. Okay, so we see this happens, and I hope everyone walks in. Excuse me, backline? Okay.
Yeah. Wait.
So, so this happened. We sort of
Oh
kite
yeah, I
out.
remember. I got very mad.
Yeah. We kite out during their visor, but this isn't a lost fight. This is not remotely a lost fight. Yeah, they're closer to their spawn, but this is a 4v4, right? Really a 4v3 that we're looking. Well, 4v4, yeah? So, like, we can still take this. We're willing to do this. Their visor's about to end. Our ball decides to go in. Is there any reason we can't really push with our Sigma group right now? Osco, you tell me. Can you push?
We should just go.
This is hard. This would be hard for Sigma to push down. I don't disagree. But did we have to be back here in the first place?
No.
Could we have just tucked in here, like Soldier did? Or tucked in here? and had a much shorter kite path that didn't cost us as much shift and as much shield.
On the mega.
What's
right
that?
beside the mega. I think we could have even used the boxes right beside the mega.
Oh, over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I'm a little more worried about that, but yeah, possibly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I blocked off the soldier, but like if he was still up there, then the box.
Yeah,
then
that makes sense.
Right. So I didn't want to kite out quite this far because A, we spent a lot of resources to kite this far, and now Bosco really can't push back in. Like MX went in hard, and this is actually kind of a miscalculation because Bosco can't push back in, and if Bosco can't push back in, it's going to be hard for Squirtle to push back in. And I get that, and that just sort of sucks. Hey, that is what you're looking at, but we didn't have to kite out like this. We could have kited out much more shallow. That would have cost us less resources, would also mean we'd have more resources to push back in, and we could walk through this Orisa shield and fight this Orisa with our Sigma and Brig as our soldier, I don't know, sprints his way over here, for example. Couldn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So, no big deal. It was the right idea to kite their ults. It was just we didn't then push back in, or even better, push back in with our own, like this rally. Like, can you imagine how strong this would be if our ball was still alive? And we can say our ball went in too early, but only kind of. Like, conceptually what
I
we're...
was waiting until like the trance was exactly over.
What's that?
I picked up
The visor
I was
was...
waiting until the trance was over.
Well, no, the trance had been over for a bit, I think. I think the visor wasn't quite over when our ball
I was
went in.
probably waiting for the mega. Yeah.
Yeah, the trance is over. MX does go in a tiny bit early here, but the reality is we kited out too far. We should be able to walk in. I mean, again, if we have our ball still alive here, if we didn't kite out quite so far, we now go in with rally, and this is a pretty nice fight that we'd have. But okay. You can't win. You literally can't win. Oh, soldier's trying. But it's so sad. Tracer's trying, developing the angle as the fight goes on. That's good. Trying to throw the flux. Tracer's gone shallow for some reason. We're throwing a minefield into a fight that there's just no way.
Surely I get a big fuck.
I got one! Was it you? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, what we're looking at here, not a big deal, but I think we can see going into this fight, or going into the continuation of this fight, you know, I'll roll it back just a little bit further so that we're all on the same page. But we came in, oh no, the fight started quite a while ago. We'll go for this as the beginning of the fight.
Like a 2-minute fight.
I know, we're not going to go all the way back to the beginning of the fight, but we see this right here, and it's like, do I want to be starting the fight right now?
No. Well, ideally, we use rally a lot earlier.
Right,
Like,
right.
before I even engaged.
If we'd used rally earlier, that's fine, but after it was clear that we'd lost our ball, we probably don't use rally. We probably back up, whatever. If we're doing this fight, this is just not a clean engage. And again, this is good what Soldier's trying to do, sort of trying to rotate here, but like this is just such a bad start where we've, you know, allowed ourselves to be like, well, we sort of have to, as the fight is going, be spending so much energy trying to get angles. And now their Soldier, who has developed to fight an angle mid-fight, is going to crush you. Okay, and we'll speed through this. And I suspect I can speed through the next minute too, because I don't think you guys are going to be able to. Oh, they are being nice and letting you get a lot closer than they should. Okay. This is happening. Sure. Good. I can live with this, though it's scary. No way. No way!
It's a good call, guys. I need those mines. Listen, these mines.
But these mines, though.
These mines. I need them for last fight.
You just leave. Like, this was like a super value hit. You knocked a bunch of
that's
them
true.
off, and you just leave and go over here, and you're great.
It's a skill issue for sure.
Okay.
I lived.
You did. You did.
I lived.
Oh, yeah, and we set up the soldier. Beautiful.
No
The
way.
first time I did it in this game, holy shit.
I'm amazed at the fact that we're alive.
Me too. Me too. I also don't really need my Wrecking Ball going in the same direction as my team. Again, like, yes, my Sigma, my Zen, they're going to rotate through here, but my Wrecking Ball could either swing up like this to try to knock people down, or it can, if that's too hard, just go more over here, hit a swing up like this. That'll be a lot easier. But either way, I don't want to be rolling up through the same angle that my team is, that I know my team is going to come through. Like, that's going to get pre-spammed. What's
Like,
that?
everyone involved.
Okay. Okay, Trace has got the cart. We like it. And while Trace has got the cart, Wrecking Ball should find their way behind the enemy team. It'll be grand. Whoa! Whoa! Oh no! Oh no, Tracer, what are you doing? What are you doing, Tracer?
Bad decisions.
Okay, so this is like almost great, where it's like, hey, last time it was like Ball's going in while Tracer's still setting up, and Tracer's like, I can't help you, Ball, you're feeding. And now
We
it's like,
compensate for each other.
It's my turn to feed.
exactly. And, you know, there's a little bit of, it's okay that we're having these guys fight, our Sigma and Soldier fight a little bit, because it makes it a little easier for these guys to rotate. We're not really expecting to win with this fight right here, and we might even close the angle for a moment after they're set up, or we might just continue fighting. It's, again, like, we're sort of disproportionately losing resources right here while we're setting up, but that can be worth it if it then sets up a strong dive. Yeah, Wrecking Ball's not ready to go in because he's Discord orbed and just set up his angle. Tracer's already in, and that's not happening.
I blinked into a right in the middle for them.
Yeah.
Really an unfortunate defense.
Okay. We'll do. We'll do.
I've got you in my sights.
Cease your resistance.
Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit faster through the other direction here. We've laid a lot of groundwork, and that'll help. Even though I can see there's just as much game time here, I'm gonna go a little faster just because I don't want to lose you guys' attention. But here we go. Are we? Okay, we're back on our double sniper, and oh, that's an Orisa. Okay, cool, cool.
Nope.
Oh,
Baited.
No.
well, I can dream. If I can get my mouse.
Do we? I don't know.
I think we actually did.
Did we actually care about this game anytime during the match? Wow.
No way.
Okay, we'll do a minor rewind here. Good. Here we go. So we're on the Wrecking Ball. Sort of fine with me. Sure, we can keep this high ground. There's no reason to have to surrender this yet. Great. Sure. And we're going for the pile drive. Maybe not our favorite pile drive, but we'll take it. Uh-huh. Okay. And now we should be set up to do this.
If I was playing ball there, and I am, sorry, that's a terrible question. How should I be looking for a power drive then?
I was looking for you to find a pile drive that either caught more people or did a little bit more to, yeah, basically that caught more people. Pile driving their Winston after he's already gone out of line of sight of your team was kind of the least valuable thing you could do, is basically what I'm saying there. So, like, if
it was kind of like set up with everyone else, how do I like go for a pile drive without like
Sure.
beating my brains out? at
Sure.
that moment?
Oh,
Because that
literally,
was kind of, like,
you can pile drive
very one-directional.
literally right behind these guys. You can come out of here like you did and pile drive into their group, and that lets your group shoot at them. But if you look at the pile drive you did, you went over here for your pile drive and specifically got the Winston. I don't want to pile drive in front of them. I kind of want to pile drive on or behind their backline to just knock their backline up and freeze them for my team to hit shots on. See what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
And then
Well,
Go ahead.
my thing is like they were kind of all in like in a single file line, so wherever I pile drive, they would be looking at me. But I guess if I go behind them, yeah, that kind of
People in the
that already
front.
makes- yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
that
think
makes
our
sense.
line on attack was cleaner there.
Here, I'll go here. They don't ultimately give you a great one, but I'd look at this and I'd go, hey, even that brig is takedownable with a pile drive. Like, I'm not super worried about that. Ultimately, they play their brig super shallow, which is weird.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't go after this Winston. I get it. You went after the Winston. He's discorded. He's weak. You want to finish him off. It's kind of our least favorite thing to do. Because he's discorded and weak, sure, whatever. I'd even consider pile driving this diva over going up there because, hey, at least we can chunk this diva hard out of it, and then you'll just tether your way through and leave, that sort of thing. But you know what? Hey, we're good.
Time to raise my APM. Damn it.
Okay. You guys are going to work your way into falling back here once things get a bit further. And now we're setting up to hold this next part. And the unfortunate reality is, Sigma, you're going to have to anchor this corner. You're not going to be able to play high ground. You're going to have to anchor this corner, assuming that that's what we're doing. The other option is we set ourselves up to dive, but we can't really do that because we don't have a tracer. We could potentially let them walk in and set up a kill box. We can't really do that. We needed Sigma to anchor the corner. That's a nice pile drive that who's going to be able to follow up on.
Myself included.
Right. Like, you kind of just use the tether
Actually,
to...
moving up on the high ground.
No, it
so
was. I understand.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Especially when the brig. I think the brig was like seeing me just in the air and it was waiting for it.
Okay. And imagine how much more it would mess them up if they'd been hit from the side, if they'd been hit from behind, and you knocked someone forward past a Winston barrier, or you knocked a Winston forward with your 4-second cooldown, and he panicked and had to drop his 13-second cooldown. Wouldn't that be great? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Fighting over some high ground. How did we... Like, don't get me wrong, Brig loses that 1v1, but this wasn't a 1v1. Okay.
Simply fell off the balcony.
And where's my Zen? My Zen is busy with the Harmony Orb on the full health Wrecking Ball instead of the Brig that desperately needs that while fighting Winston. Okay.
I'm actually missing 10 health, but you know, that's fine. It was a bit crucial.
Significant use.
Okay. So we lost the battle for high ground. You know, we didn't have the Harmony Orb where we wanted it once the Winston showed up. It's a little hard to get it there. I get it. Their Zen was having to look up. We should still be able to win that. I mean, we can knock the Winston away. We missed our first swing with Brig, so the Winston got damage on us before we had Inspire going. There were some issues. Not a big deal. Okay, we're walking our way...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Our guy came back. His computer died.
Well, you say
It was
that, but
actually
I don't see him in chat anywhere, so I think you're lying
Oh,
to me.
really? I did lie to you. I'm sorry.
In exchange, I'm going to mix in a lie in here, and you'll never know which part I lied to you about, so you'll be trained wrong. I'm kidding. There we go.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, he's not there. Don't just continue. Yeah.
Okay, so we hit this flux, and I totally get why we hit this flux. The problem that I'm going to run into with hitting this flux is we don't really, like, yeah, you can hit this flux. Maybe someone can get some elimination off of it. Maybe you can get an elimination off of it yourself. But if you hit fluxes before your team is set up with angles, if you hit ults before your team is set up with angles, they're kind of just going to get kited. Like, they can answer it with resources that are cheaper than the ult itself. But let's see what happens. Okay, I'll take it. So close. So close. Okay. Ball wasn't there. We tried. You tried to get out.
Yeah, I thought I got lost. I saw the diva, and then I was like, oh shit. And then I ran.
Did we? I guess we didn't still have it. Okay.
I think he's in on here.
The payload has reached
Oh no. It's
And you can call it that if you want,
well,
but your primal sort
yeah,
of knocked away your
always.
Sigma.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
So are we walking to cart to reset, or are we taking high ground? Because I can't.
I think I yelled to like go high ground here.
Okay. Okay. Widow goes high ground. Hanzo takes a duel. Sigma AFK is on bridge. Zen AFK is on bridge.
Yo, I'm getting dead.
Oh, Zen's got a plan.
The Zen. Yeah, I just came back and I think I saw Eric.
I'm fighting for my life.
Sigma, press W. Everyone else, leave. Like that's all that needed to happen.
That's how it be. I'm just.
We're gonna stagger so hard here. Okay. Oh, if our widow. Okay. Okay.
I'm fighting for my life.
It's a 2v6 and we're winning it.
I'm fighting
Well,
for
it's
my
not.
life,
Your
man.
widow's fully set up and is like at this point making them pee their pants. But
I didn't see
okay.
We win.
We do. That's the other
yeah,
team
you
wasn't
were-
aggressive enough to punish your lonely Sigma, which, hey, we'll deal.
Here we should have definitely took high ground.
Oh,
After
yeah.
waiting.
I mean, I'm not convinced
Yeah.
Sigma could get out. I think Sigma probably just had to press W onto cart and feed while everyone else took high ground, but that would have been fine. What I didn't want was Sigma to get eliminated here when everyone else was on high ground and the opponents were already effectively across the bridge and then able to push up and you're down one, whatever. If they have to push across bridge while you're down Sigma, so be it. You still get a lot of poke, but okay. I think I can win with that comp.
And I'm not even angry.
Well, okay. So, not a huge deal. You guys should shred them. I mean, you both have very poke-heavy comps, don't get me wrong, but they are running, they're running Anna, Winston, Diva, whatever. You guys have better, stronger poke than them. You have that Sigma, that Zen. This should really only go one way, but it won't because we don't have positioning. So we go like this. We don't have our high ground. That makes me sad.
Line.
We have a good line though.
True. You're gonna go like that. That's gonna give you unfortunately get caught by the nade there, so Anna's able to carry that fight basically by herself. Okay. Jeez, no kidding. She got both of you in that purple.
Big flux and the big mines.
Yeah. Okay. Anna diff. Okay. Huh. Well, I mean, this could work. What's the status of this fight right now?
Basically lost because we're down 2.
Yeah. So we don't really get
We should have still retreated like the stairs.
right. Exactly. Fall back into a defensive concave. Fall back into such a way where if they push you, it's really hard to do. That's all you have to do. You surrender some space, but not a ton. Instead. Okay. Sometimes things go your way when they shouldn't. We'll take it. And we've reclaimed. And now we should just hold for 3 minutes. As long as our Zen gets on high ground.
Yeah, we actually hold high ground here.
Okay.
We learned.
Yeah. Wait,
We're
do
evolving.
we actually? Wait,
We do.
we do.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And you're on the Roadhog, which is just a worse version of the Orisa. That's fine.
Yeah.
They're having to rally to try to rotate. It's still not going to work. We're still good. Okay.
Definitely meant.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
I mean, I don't actually super mind you falling from the high ground there because you're falling from the high ground to contest to stop them, and then your Sigma should be able to shoot them from behind. I don't necessarily like our Sigma also falling from the high ground. If our Sigma is also falling from the high ground, we need to fall from the high ground, and we probably need to pop that rally that we have there, right? Like, just pop that rally that we have and roll them, and hey, why not? Yeah. Okay.
It's just in here.
What's that?
It's
Yeah.
just in here. The brick
Yeah.
wall.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
I can move him.
Oh, just
I'm here, but pain is
yeah, no worries, no worries.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just wondering 'cause I can't see the voice chat.
Got it.
Yeah.
It. Let's back to like that. Okay. Sure. Huh. Predictable, but fine. Oh boy. Sigma, you're doing the right thing. You're pushing hard into them to try to protect your Roadhog. Roadhog, that was a little bit much, but we'll deal.
It was big.
We're fluxing. Again, we're fluxing when I'm just positive that there's going to be 0 follow-up from our team. But that's okay.
It's also a repositional.
It is also a repositional. It is also a
Five,
repositional.
right? Damn,
It's huge.
he's
I'm
different.
killing the diva.
Okay. So be it. Sure. We're stacked. I hate it. We're going to fix that, right? It's the beautiful line. Widow's drawing the line, in fact.
Oh man, she's going too well.
Linear regression.
We're gonna start doing trigonometry in here.
Oh, Zen found an off angle. I like it. I like it. Okay. Okay. Fine. And then, oh, they've actually still got a little bit of time here. We're probably done. We got our staggers. Let's leave. Okay. We have the tools to beat these guys. We're going to soften them up as they're working their way across. We're going to then drop on them with Transcendence and just win. I'm ready for it. Poke ult was used a little bit early here. So when it comes to our Widow ult, this is a good poke ult. We want to use it once they start to rotate or just before they start to rotate. Take your pick. A little bit early here. Might have expected that they were better, that they'd be organized faster. Whatever. They're just...
I think I saw the Widow pick from their side and wanted to see where she was going to start shooting from.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Don't care that much about the ball. They've moved over to your comp. Isn't it great? Uh-huh. We're really not too worried about the ball. We have to make sure we don't get back capped on, but he's not that big a threat by himself. Don't let him pull too much of our poke attention away.
Yeah, we're calling to like not focus, to like not protect him.
Good, good. Unfortunately, they do find a Widow pick of their own. Now we're going to crush the ball, and now we should just go fight these guys. We absolutely have the tools to win here. We are in last fight territory, and we have something that, well, we don't really have the tools to win here, but we sort of have to. We got one there. That helps.
10 seconds remaining.
Are you going to try to kite it? We are. Okay. There's our Transcendence, and now we should try to force the brawl. Okay, are we going up for Hog? No? No, we don't care about Hog. Oh, game ends there. Fine. Replay codes. Wonderful. That's just how it works. They don't quite touch is clearly what happens here. Okay,
Yeah.
so I see it. There's definitely, like, you didn't ever at any point really play the double shield, so that's a little hard to talk about. But basically, when you're playing the double shield, including when you're playing the Hog variant, you really want to make sure you have your two different bunkers and that they can threaten each other. So, like, I didn't mind our Hog dropping here if our Sigma can then crossfire into him. Like, that's okay with me. I do think you guys need to be a little bit cleaner in your transitions from, hey, we're poking, to, no, now we've decided that we're all going to drop on them, or most of us are going to drop on them, and we'll pop Rally, we'll pop Transcendence, whatever, and we'll finish them off. Totally fine. But I'd say when you're playing this, you'd be better off playing, if you're going to play the double poke, you're better off playing the Orisa plus Sigma, or if you're not comfortable with that, I can live with the Sigma Hog. I can do that. That's fine. The bigger thing that we're going to run into here is like retake your high ground. Like always. Go get your staggers, and after you've gotten your staggers, you should be taking high ground, not like just hanging out on low ground. That's what's happening. But that's not the real thing that I think we spent a ton of time on here that I think is most important for you guys. I think you're going to get more out of your, in general, your tracer ball comp here. That's going to be a more flexible composition, and you guys are sort of split on what you're running anyways. So if we're going to move into the tracer ball, it's really going to be about, we put a little pressure on the opposing team with our Sigma, Zen, whatever, to allow our ball and tracer to take positioning. If they're struggling to take positioning, we stabilize for a moment, and then we're set. And then we have our 3 angles, and we want our tracer and our ball to go in at the same time. And usually what that's going to mean is, MX, I want you calling targets. You can go in for that pile drive. You can go in for that minefield. You can go in to knock someone out. But I do want you calling someone that's eliminatable that you're trying to gun down in that play. It could be their widow.
I usually do call things.
Okay.
But they usually, like, because my engages are bad, nobody can actually follow up on the call.
We're just saying, like, the name of, and then we're like, okay, we'll get there in like 10 seconds.
like 10 minutes.
We're just walking in. I'm floating my way over there.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely. I feel like, especially for my diver, I should be more vocal about when to engage and the time.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to sort of look at this from a macro standpoint. Split your bunkers when you're playing your bunkers like this. You know, try to do less of the ball Sigma bunker and more of the Hog Sigma or Orisa Sigma. Play your 2 different bunkers. When we're playing the ball tracer, that I like to see. That's very good. Remember, you want to take your angles first, and then you either want to pressure from the outside or dive from 3 different angles there. Just like we wanted 2 bunkers in our bunker stuff, we want our 3 different angles so we can dive one person in. You know, we'll go back to a point that matters, for example. It was very good when we had our tracer set up over here and our ball set up back here, or I think it was back here, and we hit a dive and we won. And we even won without our backline. Okay, our backline contributed a little bit, but we even won without our backline. That was the closest to the right thing that you guys did. We just had our timing a little bit wrong. But like our front line, I want that to sort of be what you remember of, you went and set that up before you pulled the trigger and went hard. Like you sort of soft engaged them once or tried to brute force your way past them once with blinks, with tethers. You can recover with those health packs. You can recover with that harmony orb that can follow you for a few seconds. You stabilize, and then you come back in together. And backline, you know what they're going to do. You can see what they're going to do. You can hear your ball say, you know, tether in 2, your tracer say, you know, ready in 3, whatever the case may be. I don't care if you guys use a countdown to start things off, but once they start to go in, as soon as that ball starts to go in, I want our backline to already be pressing W. Does that make sense? Cool. That's sort of going to be the basics of it. In terms of things for you guys individually to work on here, MX, I specifically want you to work on entering and exiting the fight from different directions than your team. You're just getting blown up. You know what's happening there. Let's go ahead and fix that. That would be lovely. I'm blanking. Which one's my tracer? Is that Tipsy or the
That's Tipsy, yeah.
Tipsy?
Yeah.
Okay. Tipsy, I'm going to want you to also be going, hey, I'm going to go take these different angles. Like, I really want to focus on from you on, I'm okay, I don't immediately need to dive into the fight. I'm going to go try to find different angles at the beginning of the fight because, hey, that's a lovely thing to do. I'm, you know, while we're still in the poke phase, while we're still in the staging phase, I'm trying to find a new angle. And if your angle gets threatened, you do not necessarily need a new angle. I'm perfectly fine with you leaving for a second and then continuing to take it. You're way too happy to go, oh, well, this angle's junk now, it's gone. This angle's junk now, it's gone. No. Just close it for a moment. Goldfish brains over there. They'll forget about you. You weren't doing much to them as Tracer anyways. They were way more worried about your Zen and Sigma. They'll let you poke at them again, or they'll let you dive them from here. Obviously, if you know that you're going to dive them, generally you would go, hey, maybe I don't want to poke you. Depends a little bit what comp you're up against. The heavier comps like Brawl, you'll probably soften up a little bit. The more pokey comps like you played into a lot here, you'd probably just sort of hold and then go, okay, I'm going in as my team walks, that sort of thing. thing. So your angles aren't dead just because, you know, they got used once there, and really go set up those off angles there. Bosco, I would like you to think a little bit more with your flux on, does my team have angles set up? If your team has angles set up, your fluxes are going to be quite powerful, and you're going to be like, oh, hey, we won the team fight. That's awesome. If you don't have angles set up, you'll be like, yeah, we're still in this. We got one. We did this, or we forced a lamp, or we forced a beat. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. If you had angles, I bet you would have forced lamp, beat, a bunch of health, and, you know, like they would have like panicked, that sort of thing, and it would have gone terribly wrong for them. What's that?
It would have been huge.
Exactly.
Just a couple more seconds or waited, put it on for a little bit. I remember there is a, like, I think the overstat or something that they sent us, and it was like time alt held, and for me it was like 4 to 8 seconds, I think.
Okay.
When I got my alt versus when I used it.
And you know,
that should probably help my ult a little bit more.
Sometimes you are going to use your ult just to like escape, to save your own life, whatever, and that's not the worst thing in the world. An ult that goes +1 is a perfectly fine ult after all. I don't need you getting 4Ks with your flux, for example. But yeah, there's definitely room to get a little bit more done with your ult there. So hey, we got something. Squirtle, if you're playing the Brig, again, if you're playing poke v poke, don't play the Brig, swap over, play a BAP. If you're not comfortable with BAP, play the Mercy, so be it. But what I would really say here is when you're playing these ball comps, or even if you are playing these poke comps and you're on Brig because they had something or you were worried about them having something, you do need to go in when our team commits to it, and you actually want to try to get close enough that you can go in, that you can pretty quickly get something done, do that sort of thing, that you can get in there pretty quickly. So the closer your team is to being ready to stage their dive, you start sort of nudging your way closer to the enemy team. You can't just nudge your way closer in the open, but you try to find your way through stable pathing, through safe pathing to get closer, and you try and sort of be further away as you know, when your team is further away from stage. Because if you get walked on by the other team while your Tracer and Ball are nowhere near set up, you're going to get rolled, but you do want to get in pretty quickly. Does that make sense, or is Squirtle here?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I was just trying to stay with our Zen most of the time.
Yep. And Zen's actually got to stay with you. You can order Zen around and like sort of go, hey, over here, hey, over here. Like your Zen is going to be distracted shooting at things, and you sort of take responsibility for Zen as their babysitter. And that does mean that sometimes you're going to be like, over here. Let's go up there, that sort of thing. You take feedback, but you actually want to control the backline rotations if you're comfortable with that. Okay?
Okay, that makes sense.
Cool. Is my Zen here? Happy?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm eating a little.
Okay, fair enough. So for you, we do need some positioning upgrades, and Squirtle's going to help you with that, we hope. Squirtle's going to help call out where for you to go, because you were quite guilty, I will say, of... you were quite guilty of being on low ground, for example, when you shouldn't have been. That's one thing.
I was a bit greedy with damage.
Hey, I like my damage out of Zen. Zen is a lot of the damage. Don't get me wrong. But I would like you to go, hey, let's set up for the next fight so that we don't lose you, so that we can have your boatload of damage for the next fight as well, and not have you like in danger in the next fight. That's going to be one thing. The other thing is going to be, yes, you are going to be walking in there with Squirtle. That is going to seem incredibly weird, especially when you're walking into some of these like comps that have Winston or Reinhardt or anything like that. Walking into Orisa just feels weird as Zen, but it is going to be right most of the time, because you're gonna get better protection going in with your Brig, and your Brig is going to be going in, and if your Brig starts going in and you don't, you two are gonna start being like, wait, what's going on? This feels bad, etc. So like, I know that's gonna be a little bit weird, but I'm gonna tell you that that's very much what you want to do. Also, remember, when Brig is fighting a Winston, when Brig is fighting a Tracer, when Brig is fighting really any sort of flanker that is messing with her or messing with you, she's pretty much going to need the Harmony Orb. Your Harmony Orb can mostly live on a Wrecking Ball / Tracer when you guys are playing that comp, but as soon as Brig is fighting a flanker, she's going to need it, or anytime she's really missing health and doesn't have Inspire going, she's going to need it. Sound good?
Sound good.
Great. I think that covers everything except our Hanzo. I don't know that I have anything great for our Hanzo because the truth is, yeah, our Hanzo was also our soldier. Okay, that I can work with. So soldier, what I'm looking at here is I do really want to make sure that we don't end up in these 4 stacks. We don't end up in these situations, and you're going to be probably the person who has you are going to be the person who has the most responsibility for getting yourself separated. This point right here is perfectly fine if you guys 4, 5, or even 6 stack to poke because there just aren't amazing great places to play from. But it's basically anywhere that isn't here or Blizzard World First, you guys are going to want to split, be you on a ball comp, be you on a bunker comp, and you're, especially on that ball comp, going to be the one who has the most duty to go find somewhere else to play from. You're the one who everyone is going to yell at, oh, you stink, you haven't taken a shower, get away, go over there, whatever. Or you need to figure out that you need to get away, you need to find a new place to play from. So I'm gonna put that emphasis on you to go, wait, there's 4 of us in the same place when we're playing a ball cup. That can't happen. I need to go somewhere else. You're not gonna be able to take the deep off angles that Tracer does, so you'll just take a shallower off angle. You should still be able to see the other group. The other group should be able to see you most of the time, but you do need some separation in order to upgrade your pressure on the other team. And that's really what I'd cover for you guys today. I know we went long. Sometimes that's going to happen. I hope that you guys didn't get too frazzled from us going long, because I know the brains can fry. But do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to get into?
No, I think you touched on a lot of the important ones. Does anyone else have it or have any questions?
Mostly good.
Same here.
I think we have enough to work with
Who's
for
the
now.
best player on the team?
That's the first thing you said all Bogri.
Good question. Good question. Okay, let's. I'll kill this one here.